What up, y'all, and welcome to another edition of Pebs Power Hour. Tonight, I have a very special guest in the house with me. From the Northwest, we have the face collector himself, Jared Savage, the Northwest Xuligan. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing great to be 100% honest. Shit is good.
I hear it. Hoping you got some nice weather where you're at. It's fairly decent where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's not bad right here. It's all right. It's been good this last few days. I'm expecting it to probably get cold this weekend though.
I hear that. So this has been a long time coming, Jared. It's like me and you haven't had a sit down as of yet. So let's get into it.
All right, brother, let's do this shit.
So first, for the Zuligans who may not know, let's hear a little bit about your history, Jared. Tell us about how you first come to be in the underground. What was your first exposure to the underground, and how did you get into it?
So, I got into all this, I think, how a lot of people have, through ICP. I admit, it was through all of that was my first introduction to anything. That's how I found, just this music that I enjoyed. But, that, like I said, that's how it started. It started actually when I was 10 years old. But I really started getting involved, like, being around shows and artists and just being a part of shit. Probably, probably when I turned like 16, to be honest. My homie Concrete, he was on SKR at the time, and he was the local homie, and I was just always there, and that was like my introduction to really being around shit. But fast forward to where I'm at now. That's a whole nother story. If you ask that question, I'll go into that. But
Yeah. So basically, you've been doing this your whole adult life, like
pretty
myself.
much, yeah, yeah, I've pretty much been involved in this scene like as long as I can remember, to be honest.
I hear that. So now, that's pretty much me too, Jared. I was introduced through Psychopathic and the Insane Clown Posse, and then it just built up from there. So now, with that being said, can you tell us what your first exposure was with the A La Zuli Lu with the Axe Boys?
Oh,
How did
easily.
you how when did you first hear them, and how did you come about to being a Zooligan?
So I first heard them. I was really into listening to Diabolic at the time. Uh, I saw a couple pictures at this point. Psycho is just dropping, so there's a lot of promo of that going around on the internet. And I would see the Forever Faces. I was like, man, that shit looks interesting. Well, I would see Diabolic share shit, and then he shared that he was on the trunk with them. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this a listen. Um, it started with that, and next thing I knew, it just took over. Like I ended up listening to Head of Horns. I fucking loved it. I went back listened the whole album Psycho. Fucking loved it. Um, that was the beginnings of me hearing them, and then it just grew deeper. Like I got to meet them, originally at the gathering. My first gathering is where I met Billy and Joe both, and
Now,
that honestly the
was that
beginning of
at the
it all.
Oklahoma gathering or?
No, this would have been Legend Valley the year before that, Wizard of the Hood.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I saw them right after. Like I saw them at the UPS set that started off that gathering. They were up there with Loki, Zero. Fuck man, hella people were up there, dude. Holy shit. Yeah, I saw them originally with that. That was the first actual seeing live. Then I broke my ankle, like literally maybe 20, 30 minutes after that set. Came back to the gathering because I knew I was wanting to fucking see them. That was one of the main reasons why I traveled out there. I wanted to gather in general, but Zool being there, that was a driving force. So I came back with my broken ankle and all. I was on a fucking crutch. That's pretty miserable. But I got to see Blunts and Brews too. Fucking, that was amazing, dude. I don't really remember how many people were exactly there. I just remember I was in the front and it was incredible. Just all the Zooligans that were there, everybody who was there, they felt that shit. Like it wasn't like oh man, we're just gonna go check that set out. Like anybody who was there, that was diehard Xuligans at that point. It was incredible, bro. So that was the first introduction of really seeing them. And then that's when I really started like getting involved and getting to know shit, just being here. Just kind of just
Now,
hanging
now
around existing.
at this point, was you wrestling as well?
Absolutely, yeah. I had been wrestling for a minute. I've been wrestling since 2012. That was my first match. I had started training though back in 2009.
Now,
So
when you broke your ankle though, was that from wrestling at the gathering or?
no, that was sadly because my dumb ass thought. Well, I was trying to head to the med tent because I was not used to that heat, bro. I'm from the Northwest. I was not used to no humidity and shit. I thought I was having like a heat stroke. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the med tent. And I'm like walking down this fucking big ass hill at Legend Valley with flip flops on, and I fucking twisted my ankle and broke that shit right in front of the med tent. Fucking horrible. Trust me, I had plans that year to do the JCW tryouts. Like, I was fully intent on seeing if I could get booked. But shit happens, Fast forward, to what it is now. Maybe that was for the better.
So now let's go ahead and let's segue into that because I do want to hear about your wrestling career. So you said you got started in 2012, right?
Yep, that would be my first match. Yeah.
All right.
So I'd been training, like I said, before that for a minute. Because when I started training, I was 14 actually when I started training, so I was pretty young, and I wasn't able to work shows then. So that was like a good 4 years of just constant training, getting ready to wrestle, and then turned 18. We did a couple shows, like these gym training shows. Those are like the first two like matches I ever had was doing it in a fucking gym. But then
Now,
NWP
Jared,
started.
I don't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but your voice is coming through real robotic. What you may want to do is hop out of the room and then back in, and it should fix the audio issue.
All right, I got you.
No, there you go. You're good now. You're good
Okay.
now, but it was coming through. So, uh,
Okay, cool.
sorry about that. I just wanted the viewers to be able to make sure they heard
Oh
you.
yeah, no, I don't want them to hear me sounding all ridiculous on here. So I got you. You're good. Thank you for telling me. So yeah, back to I guess what I was saying. NWP started shortly after my first match. My trainer was the one who started NWP. I was in the first NWP match we ever even had. Period. Um, I've been there since the beginning. So I don't know. I want to say that was 2013 we did our first show. So add up however fucking many years that is. I think that's 9. uh, I've mainly been with NWP. I mean, I've wrestled other places, and I'm looking to wrestle more places. Absolutely, especially this year. But NWP has been my home. That's where I got my start. That's literally everything, for me.
Very nice. Yeah, now I know we do have a league out here in Tennessee. A lot of a lot of the pros had went to it at one point. I forgot what it's called. Smoky Mountain something maybe.
Yo, Smoky Mountain was the shit back in the day.
Yeah.
I know that there is wrestling out that way. I mean, realistically, there's wrestling all over. I'm just trying to find places that I guess will suit me. I'm also
Okay.
trying to catch interest to people, who want to take a chance on booking the face collector. Because at the end of the day, I mean, they're the ones taking the risk. They got to end up dealing with the body after, and
Right.
that's a lot of legal issues. And yeah, I wouldn't want to book me, to be honest, if I was in their position.
So now tell me, Jared, do you have what is your finishing move, or do you have multiple finishing moves that you deploy?
So for the longest time, I would do the black hole slam. I still do it occasionally, but I wouldn't consider it the finisher anymore. Um, my finisher these days is, well, I renamed it the Life Ender. It's known as the Flatliner. Chris Canyon is the one who made it famous. More or less, if I see you in front of me and you're getting up, you're about to stand up, I run up, I basically lunge at you, grab him with my shoulder, bring him fucking down with my whole body weight. just driving their head full force into the mat. And I pin them 1, 2, 3. And I
No.
admit the name, it came from the track that Donnie Menace and the boys did. I'll admit that.
Hmm.
But got to bring the Xuligan love into the wrestling ring.
Right. No doubt. Yeah, I seen a video the other day where some guy come into the ring. I think it might have been UFC, but he had a Texas Chainsaw mask on, and they was like, "Oh, this is Xuligan." I was like, "No, this ain't Xuligan." I was like, "What Jared Savage is doing is Xuligan."
I mean, I try as the best that I can to the best of my abilities. I go out there and I want to represent each and every Xuligan it in the wrestling ring. I mean, that's my goal. I'm I'm representing each and every one of you guys to the best of my ability, and I hope I'm doing a good job.
Oh, for sure, bro. I've been going back and watching some of the stuff, man. Those elbows that you drop. I pity the fool that's on the other end of them elbows.
Yeah, I tend to crush a lot of people. Um, it's on them, They're the ones who take the chance of getting in the ring with me. So, it's not my fault what happens to them. They know
Right.
what they signed up for.
So now take it, Jared. I don't get a chance to watch a lot of wrestling nowadays. With me being in the mask and other ventures and things like that. But I am an old school fan. I grew up, watching WWF and WCW and things like that. I grew up through the Attitude Era, watched all the way through the Attitude Era, and I watched a little bit after that. When Cena was having his big reign there. But all this new stuff, I get schooled on it all the time, all the AEW stuff and things like that, and independent because I just don't have the time. But I know there's a lot of fresh stuff that's going on out there right now. So
Oh yeah, no, there is. I mean, for me, admittedly, I don't get to watch as much as I'd like, but I do have things I keep up with no matter what. I do keep up with AEW because I like what's going on there. I think they're fucking killing it. Everything they do has been really good. I know there's people who will debate on that, whether they feel the same way or not. But
mm,
I love AEW. I also keep up with GCW and the deathmatch scene. Now, I'll
mm,
admit, I'm not exactly a deathmatch guy. I haven't worked any death matches, but I love everything about deathmatch wrestling because there's such an art form that goes into that. And
mm,
GCW is honest to God, in my opinion, doing the best that the deathmatch wrestling can have. Period. I mean, they've got the best wrestling just in general, like the best technical wrestling, but they also got the best deathmatch wrestling, and it's the closest thing to ECW would be nowadays. So those are my two companies mainly, is GCW and AEW.
now, with that being said, Jared, who was your favorite deathmatch wrestler of all time?
Oh, that's easy. Nick Gage.
Nick Gage.
Absolutely. Nick fucking Gage, dude. I'll be the first to admit I'm a fucking Nick Gage mark. I think he's great. He is a huge inspiration of what got me back in, wanting to come back to wrestling because I took about 2 years off. A lot of life shit happened, and I wasn't sure if I was going to come back, but I started watching GCW, and it reignited that passion again. And it
Mm,
was what he was doing. That dude's got a great comeback story. I mean, he robbed the bank, spent I don't know how many years in prison, but he comes out, prison, and now he's one of the most over wrestlers in the world. Like, that's a hell of a story. Gotta give
yeah,
the dude props.
I feel it. I have to say, I've watched quite a few of them. I got my start off watching it, probably with a lot of others during the Stranglemania area. Getting
Oh yeah.
introduced to Cactus Sack and Terry Funk and things like that. Um, I grew real fond of let's see here. I'm sorry if I forget his name, but he passed away here recently. Um, what was his name? New Jack.
Man, New Jack, I admit that motherfucker was crazy. I don't know if I would have ever wanted to work him, but I have so much love and respect for New Jack. He was such an entertainer. Like, yes, he did some wild shit. I mean, he stabbed a dude. Like, can't really be going out there doing that.
Yeah,
Even me as the
he
face
tried to
collector
kill him.
can say. Even as the face collector, I can tell you, you probably shouldn't go in a wrestling ring stabbing people or nothing. But New Jack was entertaining as fuck. And rest in peace to him. He's
True
one.
that.
Also, just throwing out, if we're gonna throw out, shout outs to homies who are up in the sky now. I want to say a big rest in peace to the bad guy Scott Hall. Man, that is rough.
Yeah. Yeah, it was sad losing Scott Hall. Going back and watching some of his older stuff and watching his interviews, it was like, wow, the man was a true professional at what he done.
And honestly, he seemed like a pretty cool guy outside of it all. I mean, I've seen a lot of really cool stories fans have shared since, and people in the business that kind of surprised me, and it shows that he was a really good dude, and that's a huge loss to the wrestling business, and I think just to the world in general, losing someone like that. But yeah,
Yep,
rest in peace to the bad guy, one of the best.
indeed. Yep. I guarantee he's up there with the likes of Andre the Giant right now, Roddy Piper. They're all sitting around now just watching all of us down here.
Up there with the Macho Man, yeah.
The Macho
Bring it
Man.
in, yeah.
Speaking of which, Jared, now last year you did get to host the main stage at Camp Zool, or was that the Macho Man?
I mean, everybody and their mamas knows who the fuck it was. That was one of the greatest experiences of my life, and I'm very appreciative that I got that opportunity. I mean, from hosting, obviously main stage, even everything else. I mean, just being there at camp, that was incredible. I got to meet so many Xuligans that I've seen online that I've never got to meet in person. So many people I got to reconnect with as well. I mean, it was like the biggest family reunion. Is what it felt like for all the Xuligans, and I'm just very appreciative that I got the opportunity to be up there in front of all y'all. And honestly, I mean, just want to say what I said that night, right before the boys went out, the last night. I meant every fucking word of that. I will repeat that anytime I get a chance to tell people. You guys are what fucking moves this shit. If it wasn't for the Xuligans, none of this shit would be anything. I wouldn't be shit without you guys. You guys legitimately are what fuels everything that's happening here. And I'm so appreciative to be a part of this whole movement and to be a part of Camp Zool, the first official Camp Zool.
Yep. So I take it you are planning on coming back to the second.
Oh, absolutely. I will never miss Camp Zool. No matter what. That is on my agenda every year, no matter what. That takes priority over a lot of things. Because at the end of the day, this is who I am. I'm a Xuligan through and through. I mean, this shit's tatted on my fucking arm, yo. Like, this is deep. I love every single one of these motherfuckers who are behind this. From the boys themselves to the Xuligans to the people behind the scenes who make this shit work. Like, there's no way I would ever miss Camp Zool 2 or any future Camp Zools at that.
Yeah, I would say it's going to get a little bit better each year. Especially with this year it being in a little bit warmer climate. Where we can all get out and mingle a little bit. It's definitely getting set up for some dope times.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the fact that it's warmer because that cold was rough. I'll even admit, even sitting there fucking waiting between sets and shit, I was like, man, this is
Mhm.
cold as fuck. But everybody's having a good time, so fuck it, let's freeze.
We did it. Yeah, we had to freeze, but we did it in style.
And much love to Terror Town, by the way, because that venue, I mean, all the people there, from the haunt actors to the just people working at the bar, anybody who had something to do with Terror Town as a worker, mad props to them for being out there with us, because I'm sure that was not much better for them in that cold than it was for us. So
Yeah.
much love to all of them.
Yeah, shout out to Terratown for sure. Those guys who are running that place there are stand up guys, and I'm real happy that we've been able to make that our new place. Because you couldn't ask for a better place to gather. For us
Oh
to all to
yeah.
come together. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to camp this year. It's going to be an awesome time.
I do have to agree, by the way, that there is no place better than Terrortown. I mean, you have a fucking you have a ghost town right there. You got haunt actors. I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
What better place for us than that? And I mean, being someone who's went to the gathering before and shit, I admit, I haven't gathered in a couple years. I wasn't sure if there was ever going to be something that was going to take the place of how special that was to me. But Camp Zool has overridden that completely. It gave me every single feeling I would feel at the gathering intensified. Camp Zool is literally the closest thing to, I guess, even though we're all Zuligans going to hell, it's definitely the closest thing to heaven on earth that I've ever been to.
Northwest Xuligan's, yep, for sure. So now let me ask you this, Jared: are you planning on hitting any of these terminally ill shows coming up next week?
So right now, the plan is for your boy to be at the show coming up on Sunday. So you should be seeing me there. So if you do see me, come up, say what up. It's not very many, chances I'm out this way. So say what up to your boy.
I hear that. Yeah, the tour is going to be dope for sure. Definitely get out and see them if you can.
It's gonna be a great tour. You got a hell of a lineup. I mean, y'all get to experience church as well, because everybody's in need of good church service, right?
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the Zuligans come out as well.
So, Jared, here on the Power Hour, we do like to talk movies also. So, with that being said, do you have anything that you're watching right now, or anything that you've seen off the top of your head that you want to talk about?
Mm. You know, all right. So I admit I'm pretty simple on a lot of the shit I watch. I mean, I watch a little of everything, sure for sure, but a lot of times when I'm just chilling, I like to play games and shit. And when it comes to actually sitting down and watching something, the only thing I've really gotten into lately, I admit, I started watching this show on HBO called the Family Gemstones, and that shit is hilarious. I've been telling everybody and their mamas about that show. That's something I think everybody should watch. That shit. I mean, it's hilarious, but it's also got like, man, such a crazy spin to it. It's got fucking Danny McBride in it. I mean, anybody who's seen Eastbound and Down, or if you're familiar with his work at all, like anybody knows he's the shit. It's got Adam Devine from Workaholics. That I would say is worth checking out. But movies wise, last thing I watched was that new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I've heard you talk about it a little bit. I've seen a lot of people post up their opinions. I can say that I didn't mind it. It was cool. There's some plot holes. I was very confused on how the fuck you get Leatherface from more or less from with the Sawyers to where he's at in this movie. That didn't make any sense. But other than that, I thought it was cool. But really, like I said, otherwise, half the time I just sit there and watch wrestling, YouTube, play games. That's what I do in my free time. So,
Now, are you a collector of anything, Jared?
oh,
Since you're into
absolutely,
wrestling, do you collect the wrestling toys?
bro. Oh, I'm a huge collector. Wrestling figures, uh, horror merch, which you mainly figures, uh, and then retro video game stuff. I mean, I collect a shit ton of consoles, and I have a bunch of games. Uh, I mean, yeah, I'm a huge collector, dude. I don't know. That's what I've been doing my whole life too. Wrestling figures was where it started though, and that's what I probably have the most of. I think at this point, I know I definitely have well over 1,000 figures. I'm not really sure how many exactly. A lot of them are unboxed because I've been doing it since I was a kid. I mean, shit, dude. There's even a point where I did figure photography when I had my old place. I used to have it set up where I had a figure arena and shit. You go through my Instagram page, you can still find all that stuff. So
Nice.
Yeah, dude, I love collecting shit, bro. But I think lately it's just mainly been the game stuff, only for the fact I'm kind of limited on room where I'm at. So it's been deep in that, which that collection, man, that's grown into something insane. I feel like at this point I've got every video game console I've ever wanted, other than like, the new stuff like a PS5 or an Xbox Series S or something. But I've got everything else I want, from back from NES all the way up to Xbox One.
I hear that. That's what's up.
Yeah, I'm a passionate motherfucking collector, bro. Like I love collecting shit. I like going to the thrift stores, Goodwills, consignment stores, any place that just has old shit that I might be able to find something cool at. Uh, that's where a lot of my collection I feel like came from. I mean,
Now, do you have any of the old school ones? I think they was the LGN, the hard rubber ones.
I only have two LJN style figures. Now I have some newer remake LJNs, but original ones, no, I only have two. But I would say I have something at least one of something from almost each line. I think the oldest thing I would have would be from the AWA figures. They were made by Remco, and they were, I think, right before WWF started putting the LJNs out. But that would probably be like the oldest I have as far as wrestling figures go.
Well, Jared, normally we do like to go an hour here, but I have a drop that I have to go make at a certain church for some new flesh coverings for the Xuligans. So I got to get that done tonight. So I tell you what, Jared, I would like to have you back on the show soon. Um, maybe we get someone else on here with us too. Someone who else is, like I said, I'm not into wrestling that much, so I know you got a part. Who's your partner in crime when it comes to wrestling? Is it Dilly?
Hmm. I would say, yeah, Dilly, absolutely. Dilly,
So
baby.
maybe we'll get Dilly on here too, and we'll all sit down and have a little. I'm gonna do some catching up myself, and we'll have a little roundtable discussion on here.
That would be cool with me, brother. I would be absolutely down with that.
And also, since we're all going to be at camp, that's something we can do too. Maybe at camp we could sit down, when we got a little bit of time. We'll go live from camp, and just maybe walk around the grounds, say what's up to people. But
I'm
yeah,
down with
definitely,
that.
I want to thank you for coming on here tonight, Jared. Like I said, this has been a long time coming. It's like it's an honor to have you in here in the community, and it's an honor to have you here on my show.
Hey, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be on here, and I appreciate each and every one of the Xuligans. I'm just very happy to be a part of this community, to be a figure in it that people can, point out and look up to as well. And I'm just happy to be here. So I love each and every one of y'all motherfuckers.
So, Jared, tell them where they can find you at. Where can they get some of your stuff? Where can they find you?
So you can find me pretty much anywhere. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I'm on all of the above. As far as getting merch, you can hit me up at Store Frontier, Pro Wrestling Tees, or Brainbuster Tees. Just search the Northwest Xuligan Jared Savage on any of the platforms, and you will find me. And there is only one Jared Savage that's collecting faces, so it won't be too hard to spot your boy.
There you go, Xuligans. You know where to go if you want to get some fresh face collector stuff.
Horns the
All
fuck
right.
up.
Again, I want to thank you, Jared Savage, for coming on here with me tonight. And like I said, we will do it again soon. And horns up to all the Xuligans out there for tuning in tonight. And I will definitely see you next week on the Power Hour. Horns up, long live evil, and praise Zul.